Welcome back, folks. So now we're going to start working on our collar portion. We just attached the sleeves to the bodice. So now we're going to start working on the bow tie collar. And if you remember from before, we are making dress B, but we want to use the collar A instead of the collar B because I want the bow tie from the collar A dress. So that's gonna require us to jump from the instructions from making dress B to making the instructions on dress A for the collar portion. I also had to remark some of the areas here on the dress because the pattern pieces for B did not have some of the same markings. I only had to remark one. So let me just zoom in on that and show you here. So here, instead of this one mark here, there's an extra marking or square marking on the sleeve for dress A. And so I just made that same marking on the sleeve for dress B. So here's that mark there on that sleeve, and then also here on the sleeve as well. It was basically about 2.5 inches from our triangle mark point here on the pattern piece. So I just kind of transferred that. So hopefully that'll get us to where we need to be between our large circle and our square, because this is the area where the bow will actually tie. So we'll have this side with the tie around the collar, and then this side will have its tie because I actually have two pieces that will be tying together to form the actual bow. All right, so let me just pull up the instructions so we can take a quick look. So we're basically having to jump to step 10 on dress A here. So that's basically saying at step 10, it says to stitch 1 inch or 2.5 centimeters on each side of large circle and square on the left neck edge. And so this is going to be our left neck edge. And then it says to stitch through the symbols as shown. And then we're going to clip the neck edge at the symbols, press under the seam allowances between where we clipped, and then we're going to turn under the raw edges to meet crease, press it, stitch it, and stitch that close to the inner pressed edge. So we'll pull those instructions back up when we get to some of the other parts. I'm going to take those down. So basically, let's talk about the first part of those instructions. It says to stitch 1 inch on each side of the large circle. For us, our large circle is here, and the large square is here on the left neck edge. So 1 inch on each side. So basically, I took my ruler here and I did here's my center point. It's here, and I basically did 1 inch on that side, 1 inch on that side, and I just made a overall 2-inch mark since the instructions say we're going to be stitching through the symbol all the way to from one side to the other side. And I also did the same 1 inch here, 1 inch here, total of 2 inches, stitching through the large square here. So I just made a long mark there. So we'll basically be stitching from here to here and then stitching from here to here on this edge right here. So let's go ahead. Now that we have that marked, we'll go ahead and head over to our sewing machine so we can put that stitch in. Okay, we are back at the sewing machine. So let's go ahead and put our line in here, our stitch. So I'm just gonna be following this light chalk mark here that I made to about down to here. And a couple back stitches. Okay. And then let's go ahead and do our other one here. This one, going to try to maybe stay in line with this other one here. So we'll do it slightly off of this line here. That should put us in the correct line here. Couple back stitches. Okay. So let's go ahead. We'll head back over to the table and do our clipping, and then move on from there. Okay, folks, we're back at the table here. So let's just take a look and see what we've done. So we have our two lines here and here, our symbols here and here. So see if I can get a good view of it on here on the camera with the sheen of the light there. All right, so on the next steps, after we put those stitches on, it says clip the neck edge at the symbols and then press under the seam allowance between the clips. So let's go ahead, we'll clip at the symbols. So here's the first symbol. And then here is the second symbol. Careful not to get too close to our stitch there. And then it says we're going to press under this edge here, like so. And then once we press this under, we're gonna press this under, and then we're gonna turn the raw edge in to kind of create a little, almost like a little hem here. Basically turn the raw edge under there. And then we're gonna put a stitch across there to hold it. So we'll do that. Let me go ahead and get our iron heating up here on this side, and I will grab the ironing board. Also gonna change our view back to our wide angle here so you can see the press. Okay. All right. Just gonna make sure we keep those clear. So we're pressing this under. I'll go in a little bit more here. So our iron is ready. Let's get my cords going here. Okay. Let's go ahead and give that a little press. Okay, that's pressed. And then let's see, press under the seam allowance and then turn under the raw edge to meet the crease and then press again. So let's do this. Turn this under like this. We may need a little help from our pin, so I might need to pin this down a little bit. So let me grab a pin over here so I can keep that down. And I'll grab another one. Okay, so we got that down. So let's give that a press. Another press here. And then we're gonna run a stitch through here. So let's go ahead and we'll go over to the sewing machine to do that. We'll leave those pins in for now, and I'll meet you at the sewing machine. All right, let's go ahead and do our stitch here. That's gonna hold down our raw edge. I've already taken out one of the pins there, so let's do a couple stitches forward, a couple stitches back, and just gonna follow along that edge there. Go ahead and remove that little pin we were using to hold. We'll just use our finger to hold it down until we get to the end here. And back it up, a couple stitches, perfect. All right, let's head back over to the table and see what we got to do next. Okay, so we're back at the table. Here's our pressed and rollable edge here. It's a little off here, but I think we'll be okay, because this is probably going to be hidden by the bow, so you're probably not going to be able to see much of this anyway. So next, our instructions calls for us to do some interfacing to our piece 5. Piece 5 is our collar A here. Let me zoom out since it is a larger piece here. And then, so we have 2 of these. One side is supposed to be the right and one is supposed to be the left. And depending on which side it is, there'll be different markings here. So I've kind of tried to remark those a little bit. Yeah, so this piece I think we're going to use as our right piece here. And then our other piece here is going to be our left, because these are going to be the markings for the left here. Okay, so let me get that pattern piece out of the way. And we'll take the left side out of the way because it wants us to work on the right tie first. So I've already done the interfacing on this piece already. That's basically doing a hot iron, some steam, and fusing the interfacing, back side of the interfacing to the wrong side of the fabric, to give it a little bit more structure. All right, so let's see. So the instructions say, with the right sides together, fold the right collar and tie end along fold line, and then stitch back end and the tie end to the large circle. Okay, so our large circle is, well, I marked it on this side. I believe this piece is our large circle here. So it says right sides together, and then our fold line is here. And just double checking on that. So I'm gonna fold right sides together here. And then we'll make sure here. There we go. It doesn't say anything about pressing, so hopefully the fold is good enough to do that. So basically, we're going to stitch from the back end, stitch the back end, which will be making a stitch here, and then it says, and the tie-in, here's our tie-in, So from here all the way to our large circle would be to this point here. So let's go ahead. We'll go to our sewing machine and put in those stitches as the instructions required. So I'll meet you at the sewing machine. All right, so we are back at our sewing machine. We're at our 5/8. So we're gonna do this, stitch this back and closed right here first. So let's go ahead and do that. We'll do a couple stitches forward, a couple stitches back, and just trying to stay on at 5/8 and do a couple back stitches. Okay, and then the next stitch line we're gonna do is from the tie end to the circle, the large circle that was mentioned earlier. So let me just reposition the tie here. Okay. Try to reposition that. Okay, we're gonna just try to make sure we're on our 5/8 line there. And then here is our mark. So we're just gonna go 5/8. See, we'll pivot at the corner there, but we'll mess with that when we get there. So let's just see if we can do this without having to pin everything. All right, so do a couple of stitches forward, a couple of stitches back here. Hopefully everything is staying straight. Okay. Almost to our corner here. Let's check and see where we are here. Let's see. I'm gonna back up a little bit. I think I went down a little too far. So just gonna back up a couple stitches here. Now let's see where we are. See if we're on that 5/8. Okay, I think that is close. Maybe I'm gonna go forward like 1, and then pivot here. Okay. And a couple back stitches to lock us in. Okay, so that is done. We'll clean that up, snip our ends here, and then head back to the table to see what we got going next. All right, we are back at the table here. So let's take a look at our instructions again, reading them off here, off camera. We just put the stitch in the back here, and then along the tie end to the large circle. And then it says turn right collar and tie in right side out. So, and then press it. So let's go ahead and we'll turn this to the right side and then give it a press. So let's see what the best way to do this is. Maybe a bunch here, because I don't want to rip my stitches, that's for sure. We've been down that route before, so I'm just gonna work my way slowly. Try to push it through, and we'll just work it inch by inch to get it turned. And I do have a turning tool, so we'll grab that in a second, but this I don't think it requires the tool just yet. Maybe when we get to the edges, we'll grab that to make sure we get everything turned all the way. Try to use my fingers here without doing any damage here. We'll use this ruler and get in there and kind of poke the rest of it out. And let me go ahead and grab my tool. And just working our way in here. Wish I had something a lot longer to stick down here. I might need to use my yardstick to get in there real good. We'll see how far we can go with our tool here. We may be able to get everything we need. Just trying to be careful here. And not poke through anything. Yeah, let me grab my yardstick because I think I can get that. Let's try this again. We're almost there. All right, that was some progress there. Okay. And I think I might see the end finally. Close to it. Let's get the yardstick here. See, we just gotta get that tip out of here because I feel it down here at the bottom. See if I can pull it a little bit more. We're almost there. Okay, we at least got the shape there going, which is good. And I might just have to bunch this all the way down here so I can get in there with the tool there. This one's a really short one, so hopefully I can get it enough in here to poke out what I need to poke out, and we can move on about our day. All right. Making progress here. So basically this tool has a little pointy end, and we use that to get to the very, very tip edge of this tie. I think I'm pretty much there. And of course you don't want to poke too hard because you will rip it. I'm trying to get a nice little point, but I might not get there just because of how it was sewn. So I think this might be the best we're gonna get here for our tie-in. That's quite all right. We'll take it. Now we got to do a really, really good press here. That's for sure. So there's our tie-in here. And so we'll press this like so. And there. So let me get our iron ready over here to the side, and then I'll put our ironing board back up on our table here. Okay, I'll give that a press. Hopefully it'll look a little bit nicer than it being all wrinkled up here. So let's go ahead and do that. All right. Got that press. Let me run a little bit more over here. I don't want to use any steam, I don't think, because I used some steam before and it looks like it kind of stained. I got some water stains on here. So I'm going to try to stay away from the steam and just use the heat where I can. So let's do the other side too. All right, I'll set our iron to the side. Turn it back off here. Let me put my yardstick up as well. Yeah, so this got a little bit of a water stain. Not sure if you can see it on camera, but right here from when I was doing the interfacing. So okay. It doesn't say anything about clipping here, I don't think. So I guess I'll just try to leave it everything kind of turned outward as best I can. Maybe it'll be some further instructions on how to fix that, because it is looking a little rough right now. Okay. So now we're going to take our collar here and we're going to pin it to the neck edge, and we have to match it at some of the marking points. So let's do that. I'm going to move my ironing board. And we'll pick our bodice back up here. Let's see if we can match up some of these symbols. So it says to pin right collar to the neck edge of bodice. All right. So this is the right to the neck edge. So we're going to, so this, remember this was our left where we did that stuff. So now we're going to be on this side of the right here. We're going to be matching the center back. So our center back is here. Okay, center back. And then we have some markings here. So our center back, and then the large circle. The large circle would be here, way down here. So our large circle, I think, would be here. So basically, we're trying to fit the gathers over to here, to this part here. I'm gonna zoom in a little bit so you can see what we're doing. All right, so we're not paying attention to these markings. This is for the, if this was a left collar, but this is the right. And so all of our markings are down here, or they were down here. So we'll just be pinning like this, and then matching here. And then basically to get it to fit, we would basically be we pull the gathers here at the neck to get it to fit. So I'm gonna pin it to the center back over here, so at least we can start there. I've already gathered it by accident some already here, so I'm not quite sure how much more we can do, but we'll see. So let's go ahead, we'll pin this here. And we'll pin this here. It's said to keep one of the edges free. So we'll try to do that too. It's a lot of instructions, in my opinion. And then, okay, put one here. Let's see, because I got all this gathering thread here that I am dying to cut, but I know we need it. So I'm just gonna pin this. And then let's see, so basically it's saying we need to pull till we can get to here. Gather, so not too much more to gather. So let's see if we can gather a little bit more. Hopefully it didn't, looks like I may have cut wrong end at some point, but I think we'll be okay. Because there should be plenty back here. Make sure I'm actually pulling the right thing. Just gonna gather it a little bit more if we can. That's a big if. Here. Just gotta make sure I'm pulling the right threads here. Because right now nothing is moving. So that means I don't have the right something. So maybe we need to work from the might need to work from the other end, I guess, if we can. If not, we might just be where we are. Let's see if we can try to get this thing gathered in some more. That was a pretty good pull there. I think we're almost there. I think that should have done it because we weren't far off. We weren't too far off. Because actually, so it looks like, yeah, we can actually go out a little bit. So we just got to make it to there, to here, which we almost are at. Just gonna pin here. Just kind of relaxing the gathers a little bit. And I think that gets us right where we need to be. Perfect. Just lining up those gathers here. Because we're going to have to sew across them, of course. And then let's see. So we got it pinned. and gathered. Here it is, what it looks like on the back side. There gathers and everything there. And we're pinned to this edge right here. Because the instructions did specifically say to keep this end free, one end free. All right, so let's check the directions again. So we pin the right collar, neck edge of bodice, matching the center back and the large circle, pulling up the gathered stitches to fit. And then it says stitch, keeping the press edge of the collar free. The pressed edge of the collar free. So this is the, I guess this is the press edge here. So it says keeping that free, and then so we're gonna put our stitch here along the back edge, and I guess stitch to here, which makes sense because we end right here. And I'm just looking over the instructions, make sure I didn't miss anything, because I feel like I should clip this right here, because it's kind of folding in on itself there. But I don't know if maybe that was supposed to be pressed or not. It didn't say in the instructions, which is my dilemma, I guess. So we'll just sew it as far as we can, because it said nothing. Take that pin out. I'm just taking a look and trying to visualize. So like when that's together, will be like that. Hopefully. All right, so let's go ahead and go back over to the sewing machine and try to get this stitched down. All right, folks, we are over back at the sewing machine, getting ready to put in the stitch that'll attach the bow tie part of the collar to the neck portion of the bodice. So I'm going to be sewing over a lot. I got ruffles to sew over, or gathers to sew over. I got there's interfacing I got to watch out for underneath as well, and I'm also trying to keep one of the other pieces clear. So I may just take it very slow to try to keep everything in line and where I need it to be. All right, so we're at 5/8, so let's do a couple stitches forward, a couple stitches backwards. Okay, I try my best not to bump the camera, but if I do, I apologize ahead of time. I was thinking about even maybe trying to do a different angle for us, because it makes it a little bit easier for me to get my fabric around to the sewing machine. So I may experiment with some different angles in the future, other than just this one, because I kind of have my camera in between me and my sewing machine, and sometimes it's hard to get the fabric in where I need to have it. Alright, I just check in under here. Okay, can I hold that piece down with my fingers while we go over it? And take that pin out there. Just gonna rearrange some of that here. And we're passed together, so that's good. Almost to the edge here. Realign a little bit. Okay. Definitely trying to make sure I keep things flat if I can. And I'm gonna try to sew all the way. I have to sew all the way to the end here. But we got trying to keep underneath clear here. So I may have to try to see if I can pull a little bit forward so I can flatten this part out just to get to sew it straight. So let's try that. Get rid of our final pin here. Try to take it as far as I can. Do a couple back stitches here. Okay. Alright, so we got that stitched. Let's see. They want us to do some trimming and pressing. Press the seam out towards the collar. So we'll go back over to the table and do that. And continue on. All right, folks, we are back at the table. So now we're gonna do a little bit of pressing and folding, and then at the end it requires us to do a slip stitch, which I'll probably do that. That'll be done by hand off camera. So I may just hold on to that, to doing that after we attach the other portion of the tie-on, because I would also have to slip stitch that as well. So I may just try to slip stitch those at the same time off camera once we get them both attached. So let's give this, the direction says give this a little press here. I think I may try a little bit of steam if I can. So I'm just giving this a little press out per the instructions. And then I'll turn this over so you can see where we have to do some folding and some more pressing. So I'm gonna flip our piece over here. And so basically this open edge is what has to be slip stitched. But before we do that, it wants us to basically fold this in place, this edge down here, and give it a press. So I'm gonna just kind of work my way down here, folding it to make sure we're covering what we need to cover before I kind of commit to that final press. But that looks pretty good there. Just trying to make sure we're over our seam allowance, our seam line there, like for that one here. That looks pretty good. So let's give that a little press here. Yeah, I don't think my iron is hot enough to do any steam here, which is fine. So I'm just gonna flip that steam switch back off because I definitely don't want the water to just come out by itself. So just doing a little bit of readjustment here. All right, let's try to give that part a press now. All right, I think we're pretty pressed here. Just doing a little bit more there. And of course, we can adjust more once I work on the actual stitching, doing the slip stitch, and readjust as well. But this will be how it looks. So I'll do a slip stitch here to cover all of this, and it'll look nice and neat, hopefully, for our piece there. Like so. And yeah, I think it'll look pretty good. Okay. And then it says, I think, let me just check the instructions, see if it says actually pin that down. Yeah, it says pin the press edge over, pin press edge of facing over seam, and then slip stitch in place. So let's grab our pins and actually pin it in place so we don't lose that shape that we like here. I don't think we need many pins, but just a few to keep things in place once we do our slip stitch. I think that's good enough there. Maybe another one right here. Okay. Here. So little wrinkle here. I think that's could be because of the pins there, but I think I can probably press that out too if I need to. But yeah, it looks pretty good. The gathers turned out nice. So let's go ahead and we'll work on our other part, our next tie, which is gonna be the left side of that. All right, so let me move this aside and then we'll grab that piece and start working on it. Okay, we are back. We're gonna now work on the left tie for the second portion of the collar. So basically we're gonna do repeat the actions. The only thing is our markings here are down here instead of here. So that's something to take note of. And then let's see. I was thinking I wanted to mark where my squares were on the other side, but I think we're gonna be okay because this has to be turned to the right side. But okay, so basically we're going to fold this again here, fold right sides together. Okay, I may put a pin here just to hold things together. Basically, I'm just gonna check that my fold is even enough here. Okay, I think we're good. Just trying to work that crease in without ironing it, pressing it. Just gonna throw a pin down here. All right, so basically we're going to we're going to do a stitch from here to here on the back end, and then we're going to do a stitch from our tie end all the way to, it says, the large square, and for us the large square is here, I believe. Here, this is where our large square is, in the middle here. to here. So that'll be our stitch we gotta do. So let's we'll go ahead and go to our, let me just put this pin right here just as a reminder. So we'll go ahead and head back to the sewing machine, get that stitch in, just put a couple pins there, and let's head back over. All right, we are back at the sewing machine. I did switch the camera angle a little bit. I think I'm gonna try this one out, and you guys just let me know if you like this one a little bit better or if it's no different. For me, definitely clear. It helps me keep my workspace here clear. Yeah. So let's we're gonna do our 5/8 for here. That puts us here's our 5/8 here, and we're just gonna go straight down to the end here. Gonna take that pin out. Making sure that I'm on all 4 pieces of the fabric here, including that interfacing. All right, so that is our end stitch, and then now we're going to do our tie-in, and let's see, we're gonna start from here where our square is, where I put my pin as a reminder of this is where our square is here. Okay, 5/8. I'm actually gonna try to go by where I see this interfacing it, because this is just extra. This is just fabric that's kind of over the line a little bit. Because I may end up just kind of trimming that off a little bit to even it out. So let's do a couple forward, couple back, forward. That pin out, and then we'll need to do us a little pivot down here at the end. And just do it here, and let's see where we are. Go a couple of more stitches there. Okay, I think that's good. pan out, and then we'll take it all the way to the end here. Alright, and there we have it. It's our tie-in all the way to our square marking here, and then this is just going to be open here. Okay, and let's see. Let's go back to the table and see what's next. Okay, we are back at the table. So let's have a look here. What's next? Now we're going to turn the left collar and tie in right side out, and then we're gonna give it a press. So let's start our turning process. It was a little tricky the last time, but I'm gonna go ahead and clean these strands off right quick from our stitch that we just put in. Okay, got that cleaned up. Kind of debating on whether or not I wanted to trim a little bit. And you just take just a little just to even it out. Okay, just a little bit more there. All right, that's good. Okay, so let's go ahead and start turning. Let's see. Wondering if it's an easier way to do this. Maybe if I try to fold this stuff a little bit more and kind of get it all through at once and then kind of go from there. So let's try that. And I think last time I had to use my yardstick to get us through, and that might end up being the same thing we have to do here. And just slowly working through here, trying to pull through. I have to pull this out and try again because I think got a little too much fabric in there. Everybody is stuck. I'm not making any progress, so that's not good. feel if I can get this big chunk through, then I'll be home free. Let me grab the yardstick. See how we're doing there. I think I'm gonna have to pull this back through again because it's just too compact. Yeah. So let's try this way. Okay, that's a little bit better. Let's try to see if we can make any headway with our yardstick. Oh, that was a good push there. Okay. All right, let's do another push with the yardstick. See if we can keep our progress going forward here. Let's give it another push. I think we're almost to the end here. I'm feeling less and less fabric that's rolled up down there. So that's good news. Okay. Trying to see if I can at least maybe feel the end here, because I feel like we're almost there. I think so. A little bit more. And then we'll use our other tool to kind of straighten it out down here at the corners. Let's see if there's anything else we can do with our yardstick here. Okay, yeah, definitely get the tool down here, get this, and we'll try to see what we can do here. And lots of bunching to try to get to the end. Hopefully I'll be able to get down here. just takes a lot of patience. Okay. Alright, and I'm just kind of taking the tool and just kind of pushing it along the seam edges there, trying to get everything to completely turn out here. I feel like it's the tip is right here, and it's not wanting to come out when I know it's there, because I can feel it right here. There we go. Almost. All right. I think that might be as good as we're gonna get there, because I definitely don't want to burst through my stitches. So I think we'll take that. I don't know if it's anything more I can do from this end. I think that's probably, I'll give it one more try to see if I can get that final little corner open, because it's bothering me. Trying to be a perfectionist. But yeah, I got this little end here. It may just be due to the seam allowances kind of stuck on themselves in there, so I might not be able to get it out, but I think I'm gonna give it another try to see if we can get it. Yeah, it's not feeling like I can get it any more than what it is. Because I'm right on the tip here. Yeah, I think that might be it. So let me try to retrieve my tool here. Put my yardstick back. And then let me grab our ironing board. Make sure our iron is ready again, and we'll go ahead and we'll press. But yeah, this looks pretty good as well. I'm very pleased with it. Wondering if I should kind of try to press those in too. I'm gonna take my tool here and kind of get this poked out a little bit here. Kind of do that end. And let me get my ironing board here. We're gonna press. Okay. I think that's good. Let's give it another little press here on the end. Okay, so we are all pressed. Let's check the other side to see if we need to run a little bit here. Alright, good to go. We're press on both sides. Alright, let's see what we have to do next here. Okay, now we're going to now we gotta pin this piece to the neck edge of the bodice as well, and stitch it, trim, and press. So let's grab, we'll clear our ironing board, and we're gonna grab our piece here. Just gotta unpin it from my mannequin really quick over here. Alright, so here's our piece. And so let's see if it's telling us to line anything up. So it says match center back and large square. So let's find our center back on this side is here. Try to keep those out. Maybe. Or maybe not. I'll keep it folded in. Maybe I'll keep that folded in. But let's see, center back. And then I don't see, oh, here are our marks here. So our square, trying to see where it might be, because rubbed off quite a bit here. Because I think my square was here, around here. Yeah, kind of see it a little bit there. just kind of lining it up here, right along this edge. I think I gotta pull that little piece out so I can use it to sew together here. So let me go ahead and try to pin that. I'm gonna zoom in. All right, just zooming in a little bit here. And so we got to keep that part clear. This is pinning where we're gonna do our stitch here. Trying to get our seam down there. Can get it all up, maybe up to here. So yeah, it's definitely gotta stay clear of the part here. I got just a little bit kind of left over, so I don't know if I should try to just sew that like so, or maybe take this apart a little bit so I can have enough. So yeah, I think I might do that. I may undo this a little bit so I can make contact all the way to here, because I don't want this extra flap just kind of hanging off here. So yeah, let me let's take a couple of stitches out there and see if we can get that to work a little bit better for us. And I'm just kind of taking this out. I mean, take that pin out. We just need like maybe an inch or two more. Still a couple more stitches. And I think that's good there. We won't take out any more. Try to see if I can stick a pin right here at the end. least gets us there. Okay. All right, so we got that part pinned. So let's go back to our sewing machine and do the stitch. All right, we are back at the sewing machine, so let's put in a couple stitches here, a couple stitches back. And this will be a pretty short stitch here. Alright, and we're almost to the end. Get that pin out of the way. Just look at stuff, how make sure we're not catching our other piece here. Couple of stitches back there. Okay. All right. Okay. So we got that done. So let's go back to the table. We'll do some pinning, pressing and pinning, and take a look. Okay, we are back at the table, and so we just did our stitch here. It says to give it a little press out, so let's do that just a little bit. Okay, and then the next we'll let's flip to the inside, where we'll need to kind of we'll need to basically pin this or press this. We're pressing the edge over our seam allowances and stuff, and then we're going to slip stitch that in place off camera, since that'll be by hand. Okay, just kind of straightening this corner out a little bit. So let's try to get this pressed correctly, pinned and pressed. That looks pretty good there. We're gonna go ahead and give it a little press to lock it in. All right, and then we'll pin it in preparation for our slip stitch. Just gonna do it here. And here, and maybe put one there. And that should be it for us on the collar portion. Which was quite the journey, but I think overall I'm gonna be glad that we took it. Yeah. Okay. I think it looks good. Yep, so we'll be slip stitching this part here on that side, and then this whole part here on that side. This is gonna take me a while. I'm not the best at hand sewing, so that's kind of why I wanted to do that off camera. So I'm gonna go ahead and take care of that, and then we'll come back and take a look, and then I think we'll be ready to work on hop back over to the B instructions, the dress B instructions, and start working on our bottom portion of our dress, like our skirt portion. All right, so let me do that, and I'll see you guys at the next video.